Okay, so I'm Kyle Harrington. I'm a PhD student at Nottingham. I also make videos on YouTube, and I've been doing so for about 7 years now. So, first question, why would you want to create video? Because it is a little bit extra work, so why would you even bother? Firstly, you can communicate your ideas and your research to a wider audience. Not everybody receives their information through blogs, and YouTube is the largest repository of videos on the internet. Videos on YouTube can reach over 1 million views. Even more academic or research type videos can achieve a very, very large audience. But aside from that, you might want to make conference presentations, lectures or workshops available for all interested parties after the event. Many conferences now often do video their delegates and make that material available afterwards. You can also use it to promote your department, institution or research group. Now, I would caution against anyone that wishes to do this, because typically speaking, videos which aim to promote or advertise rather than deliver content in themselves don't tend to attract as many views. You can use video to provide a how-to for students or practitioners. There are of course many videos that allow people to get to grips with things like SPSS, MATLAB, NVIDIA, and things like that. Mini courses are also quite popular, and you might want to summarize either your findings or some of your research and make that available to potential students. You can use it as a summary of your own work, both to help remind yourself of what you've done, but also to present to any industry partners that you might have or interested groups that you're working with. Finally, you can use video to recruit participants. So, when you decide to make video, there are usually about 2 ways that you can go about this. You can either create your own channel, which has its own strengths and weaknesses, or you can get involved with somebody else's. Now, if you create your own channel, you do of course create your own following with this channel. And you can discuss your own specific interests in your own style. You have much more flexibility if you make your own channel, and it can be used as a portfolio of your research. You can also use this channel to serve as a launch pad for other projects. I know quite a few people that have gained a gathering on YouTube and then been able to successfully release a book. There's quite a lot of people that do that, so it can be quite a good way of getting your ideas out there. Disadvantages of creating your own channel are it can take a while to build a following. It requires a lot of persistence, and you also need to create regular content to make sure that people are still involved. Depending on what kind of videos that you're producing, it may require you to develop your own video editing skills. And of course, there's no guaranteed viewership on your own channel. It's something that you've got to work on yourself. So the alternative is to get involved in existing projects and existing channels. There are quite a few ways to do this, and I'll discuss some of those ways later. Advantages are if you participate in something that's already very well established, then you will be guaranteed far more views and far more engagement. You of course don't require to know much about editing video. It gives you a chance to network and participate with other people that have been involved in this channel. It's not as time consuming if you're involved in somebody else's work, and it also means you don't have to worry about creating consistent content to engage viewers. Unfortunately, the disadvantages are you're less likely to build up your own following. So if people like your video, there are of course ways that they will find you, but it's less likely than if it was hosted on your own channel. Again, you're limited in terms of style and content, and it does require establishing those contacts to begin with. So, who makes the videos on YouTube? I have divided the research and academic type videos into 4 main categories as a general way to view it. First, we've got the dedicated video bloggers at the top. Now, many of these, it should be said, are well-respected researchers within their own right. We've got someone like Thunderfoot, who's a biochemist who creates videos about evolution. Vsauce, he's kind of a linguist, come psychologist. And these people are in their own category because they're known firstly as content producers and secondly as researchers. We've got in this next category the digital media outlets. Now these are things like TED Talks, which many of you will probably already be familiar with. There's other channels such as Big Think, D-News, New Scientist, RSA and TEDx. Now TEDx is particularly interesting, and I'll get back to how you might be able to get involved in TEDx in a little while. Many research departments and institutions already have their own videos. The University of Nottingham does have quite an extensive list of its videos, both promoting the research that goes on within the department and also advertising the type of research to potential students. Now, a big one here is Stanford University, and that has a very large repository of videos and lectures, which we'll go on to later. And finally, at this bottom category, we've got individual researchers. Now, most of these people are well known for their research first and subsequently known for the videos they put online. So, I thought we'd look in a little bit more detail about the different types of people that make videos. Vsauce creates very short science blogs, and the typical kind of video that he does is the science of awkwardness. Now, this kind of goes back to what Ash was talking about before, where immediately what he does is he opens a gap in somebody's knowledge with something, an interesting research question. Typical video length for a scientific blog might be about 8 to 12 minutes. Now, it should be said that this type of content does draw in the most amount of viewers. And Vsauce usually begins with an interesting but maybe slightly unusual proposition, which kind of subverts people's expectations a little. So the next study is TEDx. Now TEDx is very interesting because TEDx are independently organized TED Talks, and there are many TEDx societies in industry, and there are also many within university. I know at my University of Nottingham there is a TEDx Society which puts on an annual conference, and they invite speakers from around the university to get involved with that. So it's something that you can get involved with. Again, typical video length is a little bit longer than this, so it's about 10 to 20 minutes depending on the content. Now these types of videos are usually just people standing up and talking. Finally, we've got an institution, a university. Stanford is actually a very interesting one because unlike many other universities which simply host promotional material, the reason that they are very popular is because they make full lectures, presentations and short videos available. They have entire courses that you can just go and watch. So they also have very short videos which just have a synopsis of specific research. Again, the typical video length for this kind of thing does vary considerably depending on what type of video it is. Some of the full lectures are up to 2 hours long. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is the relationship between the viewer engagement, branding and content. Now, everything should always come back to the content. It's the first thing that you should consider. Exactly how you present your ideas and what it is that you're trying to present should be your primary consideration. Now your branding, this is kind of derived from your content. It refers to things that you might have, like your handle on your channel, your thumbnail picture, and any other ways that might help people associate with your particular style. It also helps people to remain engaged. And finally, engagement. This is simply about where you post your video and forming contacts with similar interests, and it's all about staying active within the relevant communities. So, what is my brand? Your brand should be a consistent anchor point that people can refer back to. It's a unique identifier so people can get a flavour of exactly what it is you're interested in. It should be consistent across platforms. So if you've linked up your Twitter account, say, to your YouTube account, there should be, it doesn't exactly have to be identical, but it shouldn't be contradictory either. You can establish a brand in your video by using things like a logo, certain musical motifs, intro sequences, and backdrops. It helps to manage visitors' expectations. A few of the points that I thought I'd mention here are that enthusiasm about your work is contagious. If you deliver a very dry presentation, then people won't be interested in it. So having a personality is a plus. And if you're a little stilted, that's not going to come across very well at all. Okay, so talking here about how you use your existing work and the relationship that all your different outputs might have. So if you imagine here, at the very academic end, we've got things like your journal and conference papers, technical reports and conference posters being slightly less academic. Finally, you've got your magazine articles and blogs that you might use to highlight your research, and videos which will presumably have much of the same content as your blogs. So your audience, this is of course very, very simplified, and the relationship between researchers in the field and interested layman is that there might be interested laymen that are friends with researchers, so really anything can help here. Okay, so in terms of the actual content of your video, the first thing that you should consider is who are you making the content for and what are the aims of the video. I'd also like to suggest that, similar to some of Ash's points earlier, that breadth, not depth, is more important. So perhaps not talking about the justification for why you've done this specific method, because that might be available in your paper, but rather what is the research about, what are the future implications of it. This helps to set the context of the research. An idea that I always think is quite a good one is when you're presenting your work, pretend like you're explaining it to your past self. So don't necessarily dumb anything down, but try to avoid very specialist language without first explaining it. Visuals can be used to illustrate the more complex points and hold viewers' attention. This might be particularly appropriate if you're dealing with very quantitative work. Good content is a must, but perfect content is impossible. Sometimes when you come to publish a video, there may be 1 or 2 errors, and it's always good to try to iron them out, but you will never get something that is 100% perfect, and if you aim to do that, then you will never end up creating anything. So remember that you're not selling something. Give the audience the content. So traditional promotional style videos don't really attract an audience, they don't get very much engagement, and they don't really attract any comments to their site. So rather than telling the audience what you want to do, give them the content, give them what you found. How long should it be? Well, it does vary depending on the video, but as a general rule of thumb, it should be as short as possible, as concise as possible. So I would say if it's a normal style video, just a generic vlog, 8 to 10 minutes is probably appropriate to get quite a lot of information across. But again, if you're posting lectures and conferences, which will be for a very specific audience, you can get away with posting them at full length, because the people that will be looking for this kind of content will want to watch the entire presentation. But important to remember here that longer videos mean much longer upload times. So when you come to upload your video, don't do it when you're in a hurry. How do I increase my engagement? Now, when I say engagement, I don't necessarily just mean your view count, which is a very poor way of understanding your engagement. I also mean how many people have critically commented on your video or a linked site, how many people have shared it with their friends. So view count is a very bad way of trying to understand engagement. Some videos have quite a high number of views, but low number of comments and low shares, that kind of thing. So comments are a very good way of seeing if people are actually engaging with what you're saying. When will your audience be watching? Again, as mentioned before, uploading at about midnight is not very conducive to maximize your views. The first 24 hours is critical there. The first 24 hours are critical as the search algorithms, not just on YouTube, but on many other social media sites, do favor newer content. So those first 24 hours, you really need to start to get the ball rolling, because after that, it will be exponentially harder. So other things that are just quick tips you might want to try are make sure the file name of the video that you're uploading, the meta tags and the description are optimized and relevant to your video. Use a personalized thumbnail. I'll go over this later. And use an inspiring video title that adequately captures what you want to say without going on for too long. Like your own video once it's uploaded. Might seem narcissistic, but again, due to the fact that the first 24 hours are critical, it's a very key step to start to get the ball rolling. You should also start to connect your profiles. You can do this through Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. But when you connect your profiles, you might want to be wary that if you post something on Twitter, do you want it showing up on your Facebook feed, for example? So that's something to consider as well. Share the video. Things like Twitter, you can embed the video in WordPress, LinkedIn, StumbleUpon, Google+, and many people are also involved in certain Facebook groups for people with a particular interest. Importantly, you should allow for the comments in the video. A few organizations remove the ability to comment. This, of course, decreases engagement. Allow people to respond to the comments on your video, and especially the critical ones. But I've put here, do not feed the trolls. There are some people that will come online and just say something very negative in quite abusive language. Delete these comments. Also, finally, you should participate in collaborations with other people that make videos. If they also have a following, it allows you to share your following. Final remarks are YouTube is the largest video repository, one of the most trafficked websites on the internet, and your video can very easily help you to reach millions and millions of people. You should always seek to reuse and repurpose your work rather than just making your content ex nihilo. Think about how you can make your videos unique. What would you want to watch? Again, make sure every social media page is connected, collaborate with others, and remember that perfectionism, it can be a curse. Okay, it's the quick and easy way. Okay, prepare your slides. You should be coming towards the end of your slides here. Now, try not to make too many slides because it will make the upload time longer than today's session. So, today we'll be using the same slides that we've used in the earlier practical. Talk through your slides. Once you're reasonably happy with how the slides are, practice what you might say over each particular slide, deciding what points you want to make and how you want to phrase things. Try to keep the presentation length in total no more than 3 minutes. This is just a practical thing of today for the amount of time it might take us to upload the videos. So once you've talked through your script a little, start preparing it. Now you've got an idea of what you want to say, write that small script out for yourself. I would suggest doing this, you could do it on paper. Keep your points as concise as possible, perhaps at the end telling viewers where they can find out more information. Again, no more than 3 minutes. Next, keep on practicing, keep on editing your script. Read it aloud over and over the slides. Continue to edit the script until you are happy. Then write your script out onto paper so that you can continue to read your script whilst recording the audio, because your monitor may, of course, have the presentation up, so you might not be able to see it. Step 5, the first kind of technical step that we come to, although it's not too technical. If you go to show the slideshow tab, which is just here at the top of your PowerPoint, there's a little drop-down box there that says start recording, record slideshow. Click the drop-down box, start recording from the beginning. It will then ask you, do you want to record the slide and animation timings and the narration. You should have both of these clicked, which they will by default already be clicked, and then hit the start recording button here. As soon as you hit that, give it a second or two, and then start narrating over your video. Now, I would also suggest using the arrow keys to minimize the click noise whilst you're actually talking. Another thing is, don't talk whilst you're pressing down on the arrow keys because it will make the audio a little bit weird. It'll cut the audio out. So give it half a second before you click and half a second after you click, and that will get rid of that problem. Okay, once you've narrated over your slide, give it a quick listen. Play it, so click File, Slideshow from beginning. This time, your recorded narration, slide transition timings should begin immediately. Make sure you're happy with this, because you might need to re-record the audio if not. 7 is actually saving the video. Now this may take up to 6 or 7 minutes. So maybe once you start getting to that point, we can leave. Other people might start giving their presentations. Way to do this, you click File, Save and Send, create a video, and then change the quality of the video. I did a little bit of benchmarking myself just to see how long this would take, and it's very blurry here, but you click Create a Video, and here it will give you different options as to the export quality. Now, I would suggest changing the export quality to internet quality at the bottom. That's a good mix between file size and quality. Upload the video to YouTube. So log on to your YouTube account. In the top right-hand corner, there is this little symbol up there. And you click that. There's a box which will enable you to select the video you just made, change the title, Put your own website link as the first line in the description box. Again, that'll help viewers find the rest of the content. Fill out the description and the tags. This is important too, choosing a customized thumbnail. What you want to do is maybe find a particular thumbnail that represents the whole of the video better than maybe one of your slides would. Click the Advanced tab, change the category from people and blogs to education or something more appropriate, and then press the Publish button to make your video available to everyone once uploaded. It will, you might have to wait a bit of time for your video to upload, but this will all depend on the quality of the video and how long it is, which is why I suggest keeping it to no more than 3 minutes. Finally, just share your video on YouTube. So you can click the share button, it will give you a variety of options, and I'd suggest using Twitter. It'll open a little pop-up window with the tweets, add some relevant hashtags, and that's it. So I will just quickly show you how to do this. So click the record slideshow, record from the beginning, start recording, and now it's recording my voice and it's also recording the timings as I'm clicking through. Or it should be. Okay, so that's recorded now. If I wanted to listen to it, I just click this From the Beginning tab. When I'm ready to export it, I can click File, Save and Send, Create a Video, and this here where it says Computer and HD Displays, change it to Internet and DVD, and then click Create Video. Now, once you click Create Video, it will take a few minutes, and there will be, I'll just click it so that you can see. There will be a small loading bar here, so that you know it's started. Yeah, sorry, just there. Okay, and that's it.